Now, you could say the timing is right. Watches of Switzerland, the UK's biggest luxury watch retailer, floated on the stock market yesterday with a value of £647 million. Well, shares of the company, which account for half of all the Rolex watches sold in the UK and which also owns the Goldsmiths and Mappin & Webb jewellery chains, were listed at £2.70 each. They closed at £3.06 last night and they've risen again this morning. Well, the chief executive, Brian Duffy, joins me live from one of his stores. Brian, very good afternoon to you. Investors are running away in general from businesses that were previously owned by private equity, yet you've had no problem convincing them to get on board here.
Yeah, well, fundamentally we're a really strong business. We're in a great category of luxury watches. We've clearly been doing very well. We've been gaining share continually over the last 5 years. We've had 9% like-for-likes now for a steady 5 years, and we've actually had a great experience of private equity ownership. Apollo have been a very responsible main shareholder with us, and all the way through to the IPO yesterday.
Now, the proceeds are largely going to be going towards paying down debt, as I understand it. Have you got enough capital to proceed with all the expansion plans that you want to?
Well, yes, we have. We've got expansion plans here in the UK. We've got even more plans of expansion in the US. We entered the US market 18 months ago with an acquisition in Florida, then one in Las Vegas. And then we've opened a couple of stores in New York, so there's a big market to go at in the US. We have a great pipeline of new projects in our plans, and we have more than enough facilities to cope with all of them.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You mentioned you want to expand in the US. I mean, the US has been a bit of a graveyard for a lot of UK retailers. What gives you the confidence to think that you can make a good go of it?
I mean, it's the category we're in. We're not taking anything new to the US. We're taking Rolex and Patek Philippe and Cartier and so on, brands that people know and love. We just have a form of retailing that we know works really well in this market. We have beautiful stores like the one I'm in here at 155 Regent Street. Stores that are open, inviting, appeal to a younger audience. We're very, very active in digital and social and so on. So we have a very modern, progressive, technology-based way of doing retail. There's nobody really doing it that way in the US, and we're off to a great start. It's not new. We're over almost 2 years in the US. Last year we had a like-for-like of 7%, and our new projects are all working well. So we feel not taking anything for granted. There are things to learn, of course, in a new market, but so far so good.
How strongly has the category traded against Apple? You mentioned the need for younger consumers there in particular. I mean, has Apple disrupted things much with their watches?
Absolutely not at all. It's a very, very different product. They obviously have sold a lot of Apple watches, but they're not an alternative to a beautiful luxury watch. And from a price point standpoint, and from what the product is, a beautiful watch, what it says about you, your taste, where you've got to in life. So, you know, good luck to Apple, but they're in a very, very different category. And the idea that that would in any way, you know, impact on luxury watches was never possible, I don't think. And the evidence is clearly it hasn't happened.
How easy is it to satisfy customers when a lot of the most sought-after watches, they have to join a waiting list to actually be able to buy one in the future? Yeah,
it's our biggest problem today is demand has never been so high. And we do have to manage waiting lists. We have to manage disappointment. We clearly hate doing that. We love our customers. We love giving a great customer service. We try and always be very realistic. We don't take long waiting lists that we don't think we'll be able to respond to. So we try and be very, very specific on when the customer is likely to get the watch of their dreams. But yes, it's a problem today. There's just simply not enough luxury watches getting made around the world, or Switzerland specifically.
Briefly, what are you wearing there at the moment?
I happen to be wearing a Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. I think it very well matches my outfit, as well as being a wonderful watch.
Great stuff. Brian Duffy, very good to see you. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
Well, still to come on Ian King Live. England gets off to a fine start as more people than ever are watching this year's World Cup cricket.